Hello, hello. Welcome to another ohmTown Daily News Show. Let's get into today's show. This is for November 23, 2022, and it's titled Invisible. I really did that. Invisible fiber got me into this mess, and more news. Let's go. Hello, hello. I am Mayor Watt. This is the beginning of the ohmTown Daily News Show for November 23rd, 2022. And again, it's titled Invisible Fiber Got Me Into This Mess and More News. Yeah, we're going to start right out of the gate. I don't know, how would I want to say this? A firmly ensconced in the news, we'll just say that. Oh, I got my Pico VR today, and I'm starting the whole process of getting it so that it's fine-tuned, so that we can have VR gaming coming from ohmTown. It's on its way. I just got it today, and I drained the battery already because I wanted to get this thing going, and I hadn't charged up all my battery packs. Yeah, I'll be able to do 9 hours at least worth of streaming in VR, Pico VR. Got a bunch of games and other things. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let's get into the first article, though. This first article is in the Word in Tech. Scientists add invisible fiber to foods for a healthier diet. Yeah, so I lowered my blood sugar level by 33% by doing one thing in particular, nixing added sugar like candy. Just that. I'd already given up drinking, more than one drink a day of alcohol of any kind, and I even gave up actually drinking alcohol for a while. Oh no, something's going on with the stream. Well, anyway, I'll keep going. And gave up candy, but then I did some research and found out that fiber and protein, added whey protein, could lower your blood sugar level. And sure enough, 33% by doing nothing more than adding fiber and whey protein to my diet. So it's not always doable, but it's doable for many people. So if your lifestyle allows for it, and you have you're monitoring your blood sugar for whatever reason, maybe you're heading towards diabetes and you're trying to avoid it, well, this is a very well-developed body of knowledge regarding that. So if we can add it, and its secret fiber, scientists have converted native starches such as wheat, corn, and cassava to dietary fiber. So converting it, a native starch, to dietary fiber that can be added to food to make it healthier without changing its texture, color, or taste. Yeah, it usually changes its texture, for sure. And if you get the wrong kind, then that dietary fiber. There's some that just is horrible. It clumps in any liquid, but anyway. Shushu Zhang from RMIT University wrote this article for phys.org. Scientists add invisible fiber to foods for healthier diet. Researchers at RMIT University worked with Microtech Engineering Group, a technology-based engineering company that supplies starch processing equipment to develop the starch-based product called FiberX. The X may be for not knowing what it is, which resists digestion in the human gut, just like fiber. So it's like the SNL skit about pizza. Don't call it pizza because it's not. And then it crawls off the table. and is radioactive. Is this what this is? Not only is Fiber X smooth and tasteless, but it's also suitable for fortifying low-calorie and low-GI foods and can be gluten-free. It's called Fiber X. If it isn't gluten-free, that would be the least of my concerns. So yeah, you can add it to low-fiber foods such as white bread, cakes, pasta, pizza, and sauces to make them healthier. Interesting. Project lead from MIT's Food Research and Innovation Center, Associate Professor Asghar Farahani, I'm not sure, and his team used advanced starch modification technology that with approved food grade materials to create what they describe as invisible fiber. Not bad, right? Anyway, fiber is a type of carbohydrate that is not digested in the human gut, and it can help improve health and function in your digestive system. It can also help prevent obesity and type 2 diabetes, which is what I was just talking about, and reduces the risk factors of some cardiovascular diseases. Yeah, so if you like things like fatty liver disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, pulling carbs out of your diet can possibly impact the A1C, and but it really depends on a lot of your biology. So go and get some blood work done and find out what your situation is. But at any rate, I think it's really interesting. They did taste tests, and they were able to add up to 20% more fiber to the food while maintaining the original taste and texture of the product. Invisible fiber, maybe much more than that. You can consume, and maybe that'll satiate, and from there you won't eat as much. What is going on? My stream is really, really slow and jumping. I don't know what's going on. Let me do that. Anyway, explained beyond the health benefits, FiberX technology also has the potential to improve supply chain challenges, reduce food waste, and increase local jobs. Looks like it's maybe gonna be a thing, huh? Keep your eyes out for FiberX. This next article is from a source that usually provides kind of broken feeds into Gatherer, and so I'll fix this, but the link will take you to Thanksgiving Day wasn't always on Thursday or even in November. This article is by Patty Collar and Nextstar Media Wire, and it's posted over at The Hill. Again, you can follow the link in ohmTown. You can actually also type in !showbot, and that'll give you a link to where all of the articles URLs are posted so that you can vote them up if you find it interesting. You can also do !S in the chat and then say something, and that will post it over to ohmTown.showbot.tv as well, and you can vote on whatever you want to vote on. It's voted up, and I'll be able to keep an eye out for that particular topic. The next article here, I'll finish this one because Thanksgiving Day wasn't always on Thursday or even in November, by Patty Collar and Nextstar Media Wire. I was going to move on to the next article, but we'll talk about this for a moment. So Thanksgiving always falls on the fourth Thursday in November. The date changes, but the day of the week never does. But that isn't always the case. According to this article, it's actually shifted around. It started perhaps on September 28th, 1789, when First Federal Congress passed a resolution asking President George Washington to recommend a national day of Thanksgiving. So it was on the 26th, naming the November 26th the day of public Thanksgiving. But then it shifted. And it was Abraham Lincoln who tried to nail the day down, according to the article. An 1863 proclamation said that it would be observed every year on the last Thursday of November. And then in 1939, it changed again. And it says for 2 years, 2 days were celebrated as Thanksgiving. And now in Congress, 1941 took action. House passed a resolution declaring the last Thursday as the legal Thanksgiving Day. And Roosevelt signed the resolution on December 26, 1941. So it's bounced around for a little bit. A day of Thanksgiving. Heck. There's asteroids out there heading for us. I say every day should be Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, I made it to this day. Thanksgiving, I made it to that day. Any day where the meteor doesn't come crashing into us, right? The next article is Meta links phony accounts to people associated with the U.S. military. I didn't know what this was about, and I still don't. I don't look at the articles beforehand. I usually have a bit of experience with something because of what I do. I kind of dabble in a lot of topics, and so I run across stuff like this. Meta links phony accounts to people associated with the U.S. military. Rebecca Clar, I'm not quite sure how they pronounce their last name, writes this article for thehill.com. And it says here that Meta removed dozens of Facebook and Instagram accounts, as well as additional pages and groups linked to the network for violating its policy against coordinated inauthentic behavior. And the tech giant said it is a quarterly adversarial threat report. Okay, but it says here that Meta links phony accounts to people associated with the military. A network of fake accounts promoting U.S. interests to countries in the Middle East and Central Asia was linked to individuals associated with the U.S. military, according to Meta. This is on Tuesday. They said that the people behind the operation attempted to conceal their identities, but the company's investigation found links to individuals associated with the U.S. military. There's a lot of people associated with the military. Anyway, aware of the report published by Meta, so the Pentagon knows about it. I wouldn't be surprised. Meta said it shared information about the network with independent researchers Graphica and Stanford Internet Observatory. In August, the researchers published a report that accounts across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and other social media platforms use deceptive tactics to promote pro-Western narratives in the Middle East and Central Asia. Well, I mean, agent provocateurs are pretty much ever present in any location. I mean, come on. You think that there aren't others that are sitting there promoting their interests? It happens everywhere. The report said that they believe the activity represents the most extensive case of covert pro-Western influence operations on the social media networks. Interesting. And I had spoken previously about a group of researchers that were able to crack that there is communication going on embedded in web pages, and that it was easily revealed by people, not trying too hard to find this network. It was quite interesting. I'll see if I can find it, and maybe we can talk about it tomorrow. Anyway, the network apparently was focused on Afghanistan, Algeria, Iran, Iraq, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Somalia, Syria, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and Yemen, according to Meta. This was published in their report, but you can actually go and see that report if you follow the link over in ohmTown, or you could just do a search for Meta links phony accounts to people associated with the U.S. military. The next article is a mathematical theorem used to crack U.S. government encryption algorithms. I found this one really interesting, and it was actually submitted to me for inclusion, so I included it today. Feel free to do that kind of stuff. You can just send me a message. This mathematical theorem, in the digital age and moving towards quantum computing, protecting data against hacks is one of our biggest challenges. Yes, that's very true, and one that experts, governments, and industries worldwide work hard to address. While this is an effort to build a more connected and safe future, it can certainly learn from the past. I agree, but to a point. Katerina Chagas, Queen's University, put this article together for phys.org, and it says in July, the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology, also known as NIST, selected 4 encryption algorithms and posed some challenge problems to test their security, offering $50,000 for whomever managed to break them. It happened in less than an hour. One of the promising algorithm candidates, named Psyche, S-I-K-E, was hacked with a single personal computer. The attack did not rely on powerful machine, but on powerful mathematics based on a theorem developed by a Queen's professor decades ago. Ernst Kani has been researching and teaching since the late 1970s, first for the University of Heidelberg in Germany, and then at Queen's, where he joined the Department of Mathematics and Statistics in 1986. And his focus was arithmetic geometry, an area of mathematics that uses the techniques of algebraic geometry to solve problems in number theory. Interesting. So they weren't, the researcher wasn't even worried about cryptographic algorithms when the theorem was developed. Interesting. So this is a really long article, and if you are interested in cybersecurity or cryptography, you might want to take a look at this at a deeper level. In his 1997 paper, Dr. Kani generalized the original construction by gluing together an arbitrary pair of elliptic curves. But in that case, the construction sometimes fails. It might construct an object in which the two donuts only touch each other in a single point. And the paper analyzes the precise conditions for when this happens. Kastruck and DeCreux used this characterization of the failure in their method of attacking the proposed encryption scheme Psyche. Interesting. So let's see. One of the co-authors of the Psyche algorithm expressed surprise in the fact that genus 2 curves could be used to gain information about elliptic curves, but this is precisely their strategy in the 1980s and 1990s and afterward. Interesting. I'm sure there's a whole lot more to it. This is kind of a deep dive into the reported information. The research behind it is going to be much more complex, somewhat beyond the scope of this stream and me. At any rate, the next article is over in the Hatch Ideas channel. Chinese-made drones are flying in restricted DC airspace, sparking new spying fears in the nation's capital. New spying fears in the nation's capital? Okay, well, I think it's all the time, right? It's supposed to be. There are rising concerns in DC about the potential for recreational Chinese-made drones to be used for spying. Hell, I think that all the time. I mean, my particular field, you're supposed to be very alert of things like this, and you're always thinking it. At one point, supposedly there were servers that were found that had extra chips in them, but then it just kind of, the flare-up just kind of went away. It dissolved into nothing, and can't really figure out what happened with that. So anything that's manufactured in China has the potential, if you were the target of surveillance, or if somebody, some company wants to do mass surveillance and include it in their product, it would take a review and an actual security audit. You'd have to figure out if it's actually exfiltrating data, observing something and then exfiltrating data. Not everybody is prepped to do that kind of data mining. That's why they're security researchers. But for the life of me, I don't understand why, this is an afterthought. Security is an afterthought to so many products. Well, you just never know, folks. You never know. Not unless you can do, a bug sweep or something. Well, I'm glad that I'm recording this locally because this is kind of, I'm watching the stream ebb and flow in terms of connection to Twitch. And my bandwidth is just tremendously fine. So we'll see what happens. Chinese-made drones have repeatedly flown into restricted airspace over Washington, D.C. Yeah, probably. What are you going to do about it? Make it a no-fly zone and then have to hunt people down for miles away? Good luck. Congressional lawmakers on the Senate Homeland Security, Commerce, and Intelligence Committees have received classified briefings from federal agencies and experts over concerns linked to Chinese-made drones entering restricted airspace in Washington, D.C., according to a report from Politico. See how we are all woven together. Different places are obtaining the information from different sources and so on. This one is from Politico, but where did Politico get it? I'd have to follow their link to find it. But don't know, The origins. Any technological product with origins in China or Chinese companies holds a real risk and potential of vulnerability that can be exploited both now and in a time of conflict. Republican Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, vice chair of the Intelligence Committee, told Politico. Gosh, imagine that. Only China, though? Yeah, pretty much anywhere. If during the supply chain I managed to exploit some weakness in it, I could sit there and bug an item and it'll show up somewhere, and if I do it all right, nobody would even know until it's all in place. Activates automatically. I won't go into it. It's definitely a doable thing. Nobody audits every single component of every electronic device. We're going to end up getting there. Talk about dystopian. Well, anyway, in July 2021, the Pentagon said that systems made by DJI technology, quote, pose potential threats to national security, end quote. Followed up on this, the Department of Defense in October added DJI to a blacklist of firms with alleged links to the Chinese military, paving the way for sanctions to be imposed. Yet you can still buy their drones. So, this is quite an interesting thing, but they're talking about any product, any drone that's made in China. This is going to be very tough to stamp out. Not unless we return all production to the United States. As long as business sees the benefit of using income disparity and cultural disparity for creating a profit margin instead of quality of product and competition, and trying to offer the best product instead of just a cheap one. Yeah, there's that will Chinese made anything will continue to be a problem, particularly since the Chinese government flat out says, hey, we have a problem with you coming here and telling us anything about what's going on out there. And everybody sees it, but can't do anything about it, really. Anyway, the next article is in the Daily News Show. Yes, this show. TSA finds stowaway cat inside luggage at JFK. Thought this one was really interesting when it was sent to me. This is by the Associated Press over at abcnews.go.com. It says, don't accuse the TSA of catnapping on the job. Haha. Well, this is the worst that we find out about. I have problems. But anyway, I'm not worried about TSA catnapping on the job. I want to know that they've actually stopped things, but they don't disclose actually stopping things. Not as far as I know. Anyway, as the bag went through the X-ray unit November 16th, the TSA, the Security Administration, was in for a surprise. Inside were 4 paws and a tail belonging to a feline stowaway. The passenger was paged to return to the ticket counter after the cat was found. The traveler said that the cat belonged to someone else in the household, implying that he was not aware that the cat was in the suitcase. We call that a good catch, she said. I'm just going to leave this alone. So the cat is out of the bag and back home because they x-rayed that cat. That's funny. They just climbed into the bag and decided to go for a trip. Okay, so we've got 3 articles left. This next one is the Wall Street Journal. Says that Thanksgiving pizza, turkey ice cream, and gravy-flavored soda shake up holiday menus. And this is over at Market Watch. It's by Charles Passy. And it's titled Thanksgiving Pizza, Turkey Ice Cream. Oh, man, all of this is just kind of getting bad. And gravy-flavored soda shake up holiday menus. I don't see it. Well, anyway, it's just something about the holidays, says Mr. Argy, owner and chef behind Macy's Place Pizzeria, of his inspiration. Or maybe I'm a weird guy, they say. They made an entire traditional Thanksgiving spread of turkey, gravy, mashed potatoes, stuffing, corn, and cranberry sauce on a pizza. I think that one's fine. That one's doable. But Jones has a gravy-flavored soda at Sakura, a Spanish restaurant with locations in New York City. A Thanksgiving paella is on the menu, featuring turkey, butternut squash, green beans, and other items. It's pretty neat, man. Some of these people make some amazingly creative things. At least to me. I would like this. A pumpkin pie flavored or pizza size pumpkin pie. That's what I would like. Ew. Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and let's get to the end of today's news. I've been rambling. The next article is over in the Smack Talk channel. There are quote unquote new Apple car rumors floating around, but beware. A new interview claims to have secrets about the long rumored Apple car, but if you've been paying attention, you already know what's in it, and that some of it is crap, according to this article. The article is by Wesley Hilliard over at appleinsider.com. And yeah, it's about the Apple car. It says here, it probably isn't easy being a product leaker. Sourcing information from people working in the shadowy corners of Apple can be a precarious task. Yeah, usually, because if somebody is testing somebody and they leak the information and it gets reported, then they know exactly who it is. Meijin Bu, I guess is their last name, B-U, is a known leaker. Wow. I think it's funny, known leaker. Based in China, that tends to land more on the sketchy side of Apple rumor reporting. He is usually best when reporting further details about a known leak from a different source. All right. So why are we paying attention to this? So let's see here. He removes any doubt that this quote-unquote leak is questionable at best. He clarifies that he has no way of verifying whether the information is real, but was given permission to post portions of the conversation. Okay. The windshield would be a large touchscreen running CarPlay with no dash, and only physical component would be a steering wheel. The windshield would be a large... Okay, so I think that's bogus. The steering wheel will have a display, but also a hole for inserting the driver's phone. So there was a time where I don't remember who it was, but they were sitting there talking about what the new iPad would be something. And they said that you'd be able to play games where you have to water something, and you would actually shake your iPad to, water your whatever in the game. And it's kind of funny because you can actually do that. Maybe not then, but it actually is coming true in a way. I mean, you can actually move your iPad to water things, and somebody just has to program that into a game, either as part of something AR related, take a Farmville or something and make it so that you actually have to do stuff with the iPad or iPhone or whatever. Imagine all of those people driving along and shaking their phone around, and on the buses and in the subways and on the streets. At least arms would be getting a workout, right? There you go. All you fitness software as a service geniuses out there, code that. Farmville, but you have to actually do certain moves to get your stuff out of your farm, right? You have to crouch down and pull weeds, and so you're getting that squat motion. I'm giving it all away. Contact me. I'll give you a bunch of ideas. Yeah, so I guess because it's so close to Thanksgiving, this was an article that made it. I wouldn't report any of that, but here I am talking about it being reported. So the next article is in the Mobile Channel. It says here, Biden administration approves Gulf oil terminal despite being opposed by a Texas city. And this is kind of NIMBY, right? Everybody is pissed off about this, that, or the other. And then when you open up a new oil terminal and it's in your backyard, then you get really mad. It's just like the people who played the or spun the wheel or played the game or whatever of Bitcoin and have $18,000. Well, actually it's 16. Hold on. I was just about to talk about it, but it's $16,558. They have 10,000 Bitcoin, and it's each worth $16,558, and everything is awesome. But it used to be $60,000, and they were mad when it declined. But when it's at $16,000 and all you did was mine to get Bitcoin, you're still up quite a bit. Well, oil dropped $3 today. It's down to $84 for Brent, and WTI is 77. It only went down 55 cents, but the various crudes there, Brent and Murban, both went down $3. Why? Because Biden administration approves oil terminal. So one of the big problems is there isn't enough distribution. But this was largely done by mergers and acquisitions, and then finding, well, it's really expensive to have this, that, or the other in place. We should not build there or not renew that or do whatever. But artificially constraining the release of the resources keeps the price high. So, it's not about anything other than the profit being high enough. And it's riding this line of pissing off its customers, but then there's no bulk altogether unless you go electric. you have to go and get gas. So we have to use oil, and, not to mention all of the other petroleum products that are built off of that stuff. And we get it from some other source. So it's going to always, and it's better to get it from somebody else until it's required to use domestic resources. That's kind of how it works. But they're artificially constraining it, because up until it started getting futures trading, it wasn't traded on the stock market. Oil prices were $30. Now they're upwards of 120, 130 a barrel, depending on the time frame since they've started trading on the stock market as oil futures. Anyway, so there you go. The Hill is reporting that Biden administration approves Gulf oil terminal opposed by Texas City. Zach Budrick is the author of this over there. And, like I said, this is all about business. We could have cheaper oil. We could have cheaper gas. But regulatory capture allows certain things to come to fruition, like mergers and acquisition, and artificially raising the prices and price surging policy where it's okay to constrain the amount of electricity and raise the price, and still it crashes around people in Texas. They have a separated grid from the rest of the United States because of regulatory capture. So the Transportation Department's Maritime Administration formally granted the license November 21st, ending a process that began under the Trump administration 3 years ago. The Seaport Oil Terminal would be located offshore at Freeport, Texas, with a capacity of 2 million barrels a day, and the project would involve 2 pipelines running through the city of Surfside Beach. Yikes. There couldn't be anything. Follow the money, folks. Follow the money. Where the city council unanimously voted in opposition to the project in March 2020. Interesting. Why do they have to go through that city? Follow the money. At any rate, that is it for today's ohmTown Daily News Show. I will be here tomorrow, and I'll be here every day until January 1st, wherein I will be adding more time slots. It's right around the corner, folks. Tell a friend, come and hang out at ohmTown. We have all kinds of stuff coming. All kinds of stuff. The aggregator sorts things into 6 main categories, but there's 50 topics, 50 areas wherein I want to talk more about stuff. My Pico 4 came in. I want in a new index, but I want it wireless, which is why I went for the Pico. Just got it in. Reality Hacker is one of those channels that I want to talk about virtual reality and photo manipulation and deepfakes and all kinds of stuff. VR will be in there. Right? I'll be talking about movies. I'll be talking about how items get their meaning, called semiotic ontology. Why do they have the meaning they appear to have? And sometimes it's unique to each individual person to some degree. We got all kinds of stuff we're going to talk about. So come and hang out. Of course, you can always watch it here live on Twitch every day, 6 p.m. Eastern. And then you can download it as a podcast pretty much everywhere a podcast can be. That's where ohmTown is. And you can go over to YouTube and catch the long tail of all of the episodes since the beginning of this year. And I hope you dig this kind of interaction. Come and hang out with me more. Would love to see you. Thanks so much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.